Hello ladies, I'm back today with another video like I promised. I'm feeling a little bit better now, so a little more energy. So I was excited to show you. I don't believe I've ever showed these on my channel. These are my vintage dolls and my uh, clay dolls. I'm going to show you them today and tell you a little bit about them. This is Freya, and you can see she's a very big girl. She's like 26 inches. She has a soft body, and her arms, legs, and head are sculpted clay. And I cannot remember her artist at the moment, but I know the artist. I have seen her on Facebook. She's a fairly well-known artist. She has made several dolls for Ashton Drake, I believe. So here she is, and she's a big girl. And as far as I know, this was the only doll ever made like this. The artist only made one doll like this because she's very big, and obviously she's a lot bigger than the regular size, newborn dolls and things like that. But she reminds me so much of a Viking. I don't know why. It's just because she's a big girl with the blonde hair. So I named her Freya, and she's got glass blue eyes. You can see in there she has the cutest little face, and that is all clay. Her head. She's a heavy girl too. Here's her arm. As you can see, she's got fairly big hands. So here's her other arm. Like I say again, this is all clay. She's painted. And you can't see her legs, but she's got her stockings on, but her legs are full clay all the way up. She's, 3/4, almost full legs, I think. And she's a big girl. Like you say, she's got big feet. She's a pretty girl. And I don't have her bow in her hair at the moment. But there's Freya. And I got her some years ago from a wonderful seller. And you know who you are if you see this video. And also from the same seller, I also got this little grumpy boy. He's pretty big size. He's 20 inches. And he is by an unknown artist. And as you can see, he does have a little damage. He has a nick here, a crack on his ear. But his head turns. He has also legs. I think it's his legs. Well, he's got the 1/4 leg that's clay. And he's got, I think about the 1/4 arm that's clay. His head is clay. And he has got the coolest body, though, because his body is, like, very poseable. And it's got the poly pellets in it. Let's see if I can show you a little bit more detail on his arm. Here's his arm. See how detailed it is? Pretty detailed. And they have been painted. I didn't paint them, but they came to me painted. He also has blue eyes, dark blue eyes in there. And I love his little grumpy face. I call him Jethro. Because he just looks grumpy to me. He looks like a Jethro. So that's his name. And he has hair that I believe is like glued on. And it needs to be fixed. Maybe a partial wig. I'm not sure. But it's glued on there. And there's Jethro, and he's actually very poseable. We wouldn't think so with his beanie body, but he is. And like I said, he has 1/4 limbs of clay, and then his head is completely clay. And look how nice that is. He's by an unknown artist, but she did a really good job on his details. Little grubby face. Now I'm going to move over to some of my vintage dolls. Here is Beloved, and she's got a wonderful story behind her. She has got a cloth body, and she's got full legs, porcelain. There's her other leg, and she's big. She's about 22 inches. She's got beanies, poly pellets or beans in her body. And here's her one arm. And I can't remember her sculpt, but it is a fairly well-known sculpt. Sorry, that's my puppy barking. A fairly well-known sculpt. I can't remember what it's called, of porcelain dolls. Here's her little head, and her head goes to the side. She's got the cutest face. She's got brown eyes and lashes. Let me tell you the story. And her hair is like a wig, but it's glued on. And her name is Beloved. And I'll tell you the really cool story about her. Is I bought her from a local, like a flea market, several years ago. I probably bought her when I first started collecting, so I don't know, it could have been close to 10 years ago. I'm not sure it's been that long, but it's been a long time. I bought her there, and I bought it from the sweetest elderly man, and he actually painted her. And he painted porcelain dolls, and he had a collection of several Ashton Drake dolls, and he even had so many of those he couldn't pull them out. He had them like in storage there. But he showed them to me, and I just thought it was so sweet. He was such the sweetest man, and he was selling her for like basically nothing. Like I said, she was 22. She's 20, about 21, 22 inches, and she had the most beautiful, which I still have, dress on that was like a pink, pretty dress, and he was selling her with the dress and her for like $5. And I felt so bad because I was like, she's worth so much more than that. So I at least gave her, I gave him more than $5 for her. But he was the sweetest man. He told me how much he loved collecting dolls and selling them, and he painted her, and he did such a good job. See her eyebrows, how good he did. And I went back the next year to try to find him, and he wasn't there. And I was disappointed because he was such a nice man, and I loved his work and how he painted the porcelain dolls. It was so sweet. Okay, so I got her, that's Beloved. And over here is, I think I named her Victoria. And she is, see how pale she is? She is from 1960, about 1950, I think we figured out. She is a Madame Alexander doll. She's vinyl. And you can see here's her cloth body and her legs. She's about, I don't know, it's about 15 inches maybe. I can't remember exactly. But see how her eyes have turned? They were blue. Well, she's got the sleepy eyes, but see how eyes have turned? They're blue, but they've actually turned like cloudy, and she looks so cute like that. She almost looks ghostly like that to me. And her head turns. And I got her from a local, like a thrift store, for very cheap. I think she was like $8, $10. And she has the sleepy eyes, and she's really pretty. And her skin is so white. I mean, you can see my lighting isn't the best here, but her skin is very white. I mean, she looks porcelain, but she's not porcelain, she's vinyl. And that's Victoria. I think she's just a very pretty doll. Very antique, but very pretty. And then I'm going to move over to the oldest doll that I have in my collection, the oldest. And she is a composition doll, which I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with that. I did look her up, her sculpt and everything, and she was made in 1920. So she is an old doll. And my mother-in-law found her at a garage sale where she lives in Utah, and she gave her to me because she knows how much I love dolls. She sent her to me. And she's quite not in the greatest shape here. And I kind of just wiped her down with a, like a very, not a damp, wet cloth, but just almost a dry, but a little tiny bit damp. Because I don't want to damage her anymore. And you can see really bad where she was damaged on her foot. And see, her toes are pretty much gone on that foot. And it's like, almost like wood or sawdust. That's what composition is made out of. But, I do plan on maybe adding a little bit of paint to her. I don't want to... She has the blinky eyes. Let's see if she'll... There, she's blinking. Yeah. The blinky eyes. And you know what? I can't remember the name that I had for her. But if y'all would like to suggest any names, maybe y'all could help me with a name with her. I forgot her sculpt because I did look it up, but I can't remember. I thought it was something to do with a flower, but I can't remember. Like Daisy or something. Anyway, there she is. She's from 1920, and that's been confirmed because I've talked to some people that collect these type of dolls, and they did confirm that she was a sculpt from 1920. So I plan to fix her up a little bit, maybe add a little bit of air dry paint, just a tad, to her lips and cheeks maybe, and then I will... The best thing I can do is I think put little socks or hose on her to protect her feet. I think her other hand is okay though. Yeah, her hands aren't too bad. They're just really dirty and the paint's coming off, but her hands are okay. They're not actually really damaged. And I'm going to show you my last doll here. She's also she's porcelain. Her head and arms are porcelain, and she is a fairly well-known sculpt in the porcelain collecting world. She is the Tyner Boots. I think that's what they call her, Tyner Boots. And it was actually a company that made, I think, boots for dolls. And these are the boots here, or the shoes, actually shoes. And that's what they were known for, but they made this doll just to show off their shoes or boots, as far as I can remember. I did look up the history of them, but I can't recall it right now. And so here she is, and she is on my YouTube. You'll probably see her picture. She's on the YouTube profile picture for my YouTube channel. And there she is. And I named her Bootsy after Tiny Boots. Bootsy. And she's got a wig on with curly black hair. And she's African American. That's her wig. But I keep that little bonnet on her because I think it's so cute. That's what she came with. And these are all her original clothes, which I think is great. And I got her for a great price. So she has her original clothes, her little dress, and her hat, and her tights, and her boots, shoes. So there's Bootsy. And she's beautiful. I don't think you can really see, but she see? She has the brown glass eyes, and she has long eyelashes on top, so that kind of makes her eyes look really black, but they're not all that black. There she is, Bootsy. Like I said, I wanted to show you a different kind of video. The other day I showed you my tiny babies, so today I want to show you my vintage babies, my clay babies. And I'm not sure she's not extremely old. I think she's from the 80s, maybe 1980s. And like I said, she's my oldest here, 1920. If y'all could help me figure out a name for her, suggestions please on this little one. And she's real tiny. She's probably 13 inches, maybe. And then there, she's like she's going to sleep. She's like, your video is too long, Mama. I'm going to sleep. There's Victoria. She's the Madam Alexander from 1950, I think. Here's one of my porcelain girl, Beloved. Like I said, she has a very sweet story where she was painted by the sweetest gentleman, older gentleman. And here's Jethro again. Jethro. Grumpy man. He's clay. And here's my biggest girl. Here's Freya, the little Viking babe, or the big Viking baby. So she's about 26 inches, and she's heavy. She's a big girl. There she is, and she's clay also. And I think I have time. I can show you really quickly. I did get it. I mentioned, I'll just let you look at the babies. I did mention that I got a new kit to paint up and likely sell. Don't be scared, because I'll tell you it's a monkey kit, so you don't get thrown off here. It's the Bonnie monkey kit. It's supposed to be a girl monkey. And I cannot remember the artist. Let's see if it has it on the back. Yeah. It's Amy Fiera is the artist, or the sculptor. And like I said, this monkey kit is very detailed to me compared to some of the other monkey kits. Very realistic for a monkey, chimpanzee. And there's her face, her head. And here's one of her arms. And see how detailed? It really does look like a monkey hand. That monkey hand. I think it looks like my hand. So I guess it looks like a monkey. And there's your elbow. And I will be painting up this kit. I got it at a good price. So I will see the veining. See the vein in that sculpt? Look at that. So I'm seeing how detailed it is. You can actually see the veins inside the sculpt. Not painted in, but sculpted in. And then she's bending that hand. There's her other arm. And I'll show you her legs. Well, or did I show you her leg? Was that her leg? Oh, sorry. This was her leg I showed you first. Here's her other hand. There's her hand. You can see the veins. Yeah, her hands look like they have the veins sculpted in. Here's her other foot. Sorry, well, her foot has veins too. See that? There's her foot. Looks like it's getting to grab onto something, like a branch, or maybe pick up something. And then she came with her body and some zip ties and stuff. And she came with a full outfit, like a little dress. And yeah, I'll let you look at her last. So I'm gonna have to go and cut this video off real quick. Anyway, I hope you all are blessed today, and I will talk to you soon.